Okay, Marcus, right? So I've been on a lot of jobs and total building commissioning, right? Let's talk about that. What is in that bucket? Because there's a lot of adults in there, right? So everyone talks about commissioning the heating and cooling system. Everyone gets that. But what about like envelope, life safety, particularly life safety, right? ELV, lighting. What about all these other things?
So this reminds me of a situation where we were at a BCA, the Building Commission Association. We are at one of the leadership conferences in South Carolina about a year and a half ago, and I was on a panel, and they did this on purpose. And I was sitting up there, and they asked a question of like, so Marcus, if a client came to you and asked you, do you perform all these services? And I'm over here, I'm one of those people, like, I'm just too honest, and I'm like, well, it all depends. And if I do this, because me personally, I'm an envelope MEP guy, fire. So then automatically the person next to me was kind of like a setup. They're like, Marcus, the answer is yes. yes, we do them all. And like, if we don't do them, we're going to find someone that does them. And that's very true too. But to the point where the IT, the AV, the cybersecurity, which is just taking off, fire life safety, NFP 3 and 4s. I mean, the list goes on, right? So everybody calls them add-alls because they're not lead fundamental or enhanced. They're not, code required because they're not just energy consumptions, but they're actually required. They're all required, right? And they're all part of every job, and every commissioning provider should be really thinking about those and learning about them because it's all connected. And I'm going to pass that back to you because this is a good conversation.
All right. So I first encountered this in a specification format on a US Navy job where the new commissioning spec for the Corps of Engineers in US Navy is total building commissioning. So that means that is Latin for envelope, electrical, mechanical, ELV, life safety, everything, right?
The UFC.
You got to freaking do all of it. And if you say no to any of it, you're out.
Yep.
All right. So just know that. But the thing that baffles me mostly, and I'm baffled a lot because I am an old man, is the life safety aspect, right? So, staircase pressurization, smoke clearance, fire alarm, emergency lighting. These things actually matter, right? This is the stuff when that building's on fire, you really want it to have known it was commissioned properly and is actually working. And there seems to be so little emphasis on that. And I don't understand that.
Well, interesting you say that because when you just said the emphasis, right, of all these life safety systems, and then they'll have the controls person, the BS going, that's not on mine. I'm interlocked. Nope. They'll be like, oh. Because then they'll be like, I don't want it on that. I don't want this. You're like, so where does it go? Smoke panel, fire panel. Nope, not me. And you're like, I'm always about the integrated systems test. Basically, everything's integrated. Is it a UL damper? Is it this? Is it that? Does it turn this off? Like, I'm over here going, they're all integrated. How do we get over these silos and make sure that the building is safe? Remember, TCO means that the building can be occupied because it's safe to occupy, right? Substantial completion means it satisfies the intent. Doesn't mean it's finished.
Yeah.
I've seen how those words fall into play here too.
So and then there's operational ready. But if you speak if I speak to a fire alarm commissioning guy, right, he'll say to me, yeah, I'm done. Of course I care about it. It's a life safety and I've done my bit. But that person is not interested in the interface with the elevator. That's someone else's problem. Huh? The interface with the BMS system, that's someone else's problem. So this is, again, right, the commissioning authority, agent, manager, whatever we're calling them this week, is interested in that, integrate that IST, the integrated thing. And there's just not enough emphasis on that. And
Division 25, integrated automation. Everybody look into Division 25. It's been there for a long time, like 30 years. There's 90 sections of it, right? Everyone's like, what? Just look it up. It integrates all this automation and it sets you up. If you're a big client or a small client, you can build this and you can basically say, this is what I want it to be.
So what? So take NFPA 4 about IST, right, of life safety systems.
Yep.
My mind is boggled at how few design engineers even know that document exists, and none of them specify it. Not one. No. Why is that? If I was a lawyer and I had to sue someone, it would be so easy to trip them up. Like, this thing exists and it's on FPA. Why have you not got it in there?
For me, I've always basically noticed the heights. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, is it 4 stories, 5 stories? Oh, you hit your class 5. Oh, it went to mid rise. Oh, you whole another area. They always classify it by basically heights and occupancies and what it is. And it's like, so you're saying like, so these 2 stories are different than these 5, than these 15 and these 50s. I've never understood how they can just differ. For me, life safety is life safety. Basically, egress, what happens, does it shut off the smoke, the panel, who comes, when it comes, how fast it is. Life safety, it should be one of the most important part of any building.
So you know what goes on in reality? There's this circle jerk of thinking that goes like this. The owner says, I've hired a professional engineer. He's got that handled. His stamp is on the line. His insurance is on the line. Professional engineer does his stuff, sends it to the authority having jurisdiction. That guy or girl in that voice thinks to themselves, oh, professional engineer stamped this, it must be right. I'll just freaking sign it off. The professional engineer is thinking, well, the authority having jurisdiction, they're the last word on that. If they're signing it off, we're all good here, right? Nothing to see. And then this circle jerk of like violent agreement with no checking goes on.
Oh, no, you're exactly right. And then let's go to the other extent where sometimes you'll have people who will basically make you test again and again and again and again and again. Yeah. Start, from the SPF, stair pressurization fans weren't perfectly at 0.01, 0.015, this. And you look at the code, you're like, it's satisfied. You're like, then it comes down to, I'm not satisfied. And then it's like, and then it's just again and again and again. So I believe that there needs to be more clarification. Like, I hate to say it more, but it's just definitive parts, right? Did you hit it? Did you do it? Is it best practices? Because remember, code minimum means you're barely just not breaking the law. Like, got to go further sometimes. I don't know. It's an owner perspective, I guess.
If I am the authority having jurisdiction, for me to let you occupy that building, I want documented, signed testing and commissioning reports that this is done and meets specification. They don't get that. They just do the old CFD and go, yeah, it's all right, off you go.
Oh, yeah. When's the last time? I'm sorry. I can't remember the last time someone did a CFD.
Yeah. So, the bottom line is something horrible has to happen for things to change, unfortunately, right?
Why does it always have to be a lessons learned? Shouldn't be basically because all the bad that happened. And then the funny thing is you keep on building buildings. Why isn't this all talked about on day one and it's brought up and you're like, all right, so we're not going to have this happen here. We're not going to have, it just keeps happening. I don't get it.
So to wrap this up then, what the takeaway here is, how do you deal with this? You have to, again, at the very beginning, when you're writing the employer's requirements and the specs, you have to say, right, these are the systems, fire life safety, ELV, escalators, elevators, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, envelope. You've got to list them out and say, I want this, I want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, right? But if you're actively saying, I don't want full commission on life safety, then good luck with that if something happens later on and that document surfaces, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to list it out, list the commissioning universe out in full, and then make an overt decision about what you want and don't want and why, and document that.
And I hate to say it, but it's just like, these are the areas that you do not want to VE out or be cheap on. I mean, if any of this ever comes out later, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, I want to put this out there that Marcus and I are available to be professional expert witnesses, because if ever there is an insurance claim, it would be so easy for me to go and ask for documents that I know are not there, and that would just be a wrap, and that would be over. So we're out there. We're horrible.
That's why communication, documentation, and verification are the 3 most important parts of commissioning.
Evidence matters.